Okay. I welcome you, ma'am. I welcome you on to the Tea Talk show. And it's all yours now.
Thank you so much, Mayuri and Dr. Janki. It is overwhelming. It is gratifying that nutritionists and our own female gender, is talking about us, we people, we nutritionists, we dietitians, and celebrating our work and our reach to society and the nation. And on this day, what a topic chosen by Dr. Janki on fast food. I mean, at first I felt, okay, what mazak is this? But I said, no, we can share a lot and we can talk a lot and we can make people see some sense on our role as nutritionists and what we are doing and what we can do more so in all aspects of food service, because food is what gives us life and food is what sustains life and food is everywhere. I'll share my screen, Janki.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
What is happening? Remember?
You can, ma'am.
You have to allow me to share, I believe.
I allowed. I made you co-host.
Okay.
So you can share, ma'am.
Just a minute, Mayuri, I'll just get it done.
No problem.
See now, again, I cancelled and I did that.
Disabled.
You will get that share screen in the middle.
Yeah, but it's not happening from there. I'm trying to just see.
Yeah.
There we are. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that fast foods, all foods that we choose, all foods that we buy, all foods that we want to buy from the market, that we want to bring to the table. Yes, everything can be, having its impact on our health, on our energy status, and on our disease risk. So fast food is defined as easily prepared processed food served at snack bars, restaurants as a quick meal or as a takeaway. The National Institute of Nutrition defines unhealthy or junk foods as those that contain little or no proteins, vitamins or minerals, but are having good amounts, rich amounts of salt, sugar, fats, and are high in energy. All over the world, the term junk food has different connotations, like the HFSS, which is high in fat, salt, and sugar. That's WHO acronym. Then the Republic of Korea has defined the word EDLNF, that is energy dense, low nutrient density foods. There's one more term, energy dense, nutrient poor foods for children. Then you have foods of minimal nutritional value by the US. But I would say that fast foods can have two impacts, because it may have limiting amounts of nutrients which are favoring good health, like proteins, vitamins, phytochemicals, minerals, and dietary fiber. So it can have a negative impact on health because it also has a very high amount of fats, sugars, and salts, which can disrupt the health balance and increase the disease risk. Fast foods are known to be positively associated with adiposity and adversity. It has been shown in several research papers globally that a person who caters to such kind of junk food ups his calorie intake by 200, and frequently consumed fast foods can give you a higher body mass index and increase your risk to conditions like hypertension, insulin resistance, and so on. There is also one aspect of fast foods, which is the low amount of micronutrients. See, the term hidden hunger is very much in use now. That is because our diets are very much low in important micronutrients like iron, vitamin D, calcium, and minerals like selenium and zinc. So more processed foods that we are using, yes, more trans fats that we are using, and the fast cooking methods, it kind of reduces the nutrition availability, and hence we are so much at risk of so many health diseases. There is a plethora of research papers which talks about the growing menace of fast food consumption and its health aspects. In India, there was one study which which actually showed that when a lot of fast foods consumed by pregnant and lactating women, it has had an altering impact on the fetal brain reward pathway, altering the so-called child's future food preferences. So this rising trend of increasing consumption of fast foods in India is also linked to the rising prevalence of NCDs. We need to, as nutritionists, food service providers, as health professionals, come together and somewhere make an impact with regards to adopting some legal advices or service or education approaches to promote healthy dietary practices, especially so with regard to junk food. Again, a lot of researchers worldwide have shown that fast food consumption has known to impact physical health. And the various aspects are, of course, adult obesity, the rising prevalence of hypertension because of the extra amount of salt in these fast foods, then the high incidence of NCDs, like you have cholesterol being on the higher side, which is known to have stroke, and gastritis affects the kidneys because of the extra sodium, affects the liver. Now you see a higher prevalence of fatty livers, and that in people who are not even having any alcohol or very less alcohol are known to show such high levels of fatty liver. It is linked to such highly processed fast foods. It also, in children, fast foods are known to have a higher prevalence of dental caries. I see a lot of patients coming to me and telling me, okay, we have chronic fatigue, we're always tired, we are working and they're working long hours. And then, you know, they are at risk of caffeine, a lot of colas, a lot of coffees, a lot of these so-called energy drinks are all high in caffeine levels. We see a rising level in type 2 diabetes. We have allergic manifestation because the colors and flavors being used. So many cancers being seen. Of course, childhood obesity. Today, we are known to be becoming a nation of people with a higher prevalence of not only, you know, low mass, low muscle mass, sarcopenia, but also osteopenia. There is growth retardation, infertility in men and women. So everywhere, every aspect is in. There was another paper which spoke about the impact of junk food consumption on mental health. And you can see that this high fructose corn syrup, the refined salt and chemical preservatives are affecting the person's alertness. They are also impacting on the fetal level, and we are, leading to higher prevalence of Alzheimer's at a very younger age. Children are having attention deficit disorders. There is lower IQ. A lot of people talk about depression so easily and so frequently. So what would you define a healthy food as? There are people who would say that a food which is medicalized, okay, food which has nutrition and scientific evidence is healthy food. I would say we dietitians need to adopt a legitimate role, and we need to talk more about dietary recommendations. We need, because people are reaching out to us. I see very frequently youngsters asking me, okay, what should I eat? How much should I eat? What can help me with better health, and how can I improve my energy status? So we have a very big role to play. We need to understand that we are influencers. So there are people who come to us with perceived benefits. They say that, okay, we are resorting to fast foods because it is economic, it's convenient, it's fun, it's good taste, it's available, and it's good to hang out with people. And there are others who know that fast foods can have unhealthy impacts because they're high calorie, high salt, high sugars. So we need to, when people come to us for counseling, we need to talk about, okay, we need to reduce, we need to improve on our food choices. There are interesting findings again from research data that dislike for cooking is linked to a higher frequency of using fast foods in the young adults today. Also, the males and the unmarried youngsters are known to frequent fast food centers. We need to develop strategies whereby we can have intervention on the public level. We can target them by having demonstrations of healthy food preparations. We can talk about imparting cooking skills. Nowadays, because of lockdown, I myself have tried to, come onto the social media through my Instagram and the FB pages. I have been talking about how we can healthify our so-called, fast foods or snack foods or everyday foods, how we can make even our bakery items or our chaat items much more healthier. If we involve the children and the youngsters, and when they, in their formative years, start tasting healthy and interesting different foods, they will develop a liking for so-called healthy fast foods. So there are fast food influencers and there are influences that we have. One study spoke about how people who are very impulsive, who look at just short-term benefits, to be the ones who frequently have fast foods, because they feel that, okay, I just had a pizza and I'm feeling happy about it. So I had a cola because I was feeling low, I'm feeling energized. But one should understand that when we have these so-called fast foods or these so-called energy drinks, very often we are having long-term impacts. We don't always have to look at convenience and palatability. One has to look at what will happen over weeks and months. Nothing happens in a day or once in a month or once in a fortnight. Things happen over a few months and years. So it is not just the urban areas, urban or the cities where we have this unhealthy or this fast food trend. It is very much happening in the low socioeconomic strata and the rural. There was one study which brought out that the fat content in fried foods was as high as 28.8 grams per 100 grams in the rural setting. So this has long-term implications. Today, obesity is not just a disease of the rich or the urban or the corporate sector. It is everywhere. It is there even in the labor class. So we need to target even the oil and fat manufacturers who supply these oils to these small setups where these fried foods are being made. We need to also, there are studies which talk about the snacking behaviors in school and college going children. And it has been noticed that children, youngsters just reach colleges and schools because they've been up late, so they don't have enough time to have breakfast. So what happens? They resort to the cafeteria, and what are they having? Just those fried bondas, or fried vadas, or just those butter toast, or those khari biscuits, or those cookies and cakes and colas. So there is a very high risk skipping meals and then, looking at fixing the meals with fast foods. There is a lot of data. A US study spoke about this ultra processed fast food consumption and the increasing risk to obesity. There is one more study which I just came across recently, which was talking about the high percentage of trans fatty acids, fructose and MSG, which is your Chinese salt, monosodium glutamate, which is linked to weight gain, adiposity, insulin sensitivity, and more adversities. So most junk foods, yes, we all know, are fast foods. They're prepared fast, they're served fast. So it is not very easy to say no to junk foods. But junk foods, if prepared with care, caution, and using nutritious foods, can become healthy foods. There is enough research, there are enough innovations happening all over the country, and we nutritionists, we dietitians who are having our clinics, or those who are into academics, or those who are part of industry, we can help put in those ideas and strategies so that we can help the consumers understand the impact of these high energy foods which are using sugars, polished starches, high salt and high sodium compounds, and the colors that are used in the so-called readily available fast foods all over, not just restaurants, but wherever we have people. So we have people, we have children in schools, in daycare centers, we have them at railway stations, at the airports, everywhere. Now lockdown, we are at home, okay, we are homebound, but once we go back to our old novels and we are again back to interaction and movement, we will go back to those habits. So now that we are in lockdown, we have some more time to think about what we are doing to our health. I'm sure if we reach out to the population and talk about what diet can do to help and what bad diet can do to your health, we can talk about these things. So take out the bad, leave in the good, develop healthy fast foods, include functional foods, minimize the undesirable foods so we can maximize the impact of desirable foods. We nutritionists, we dietitians, all those who are with me today, we need to initiate new ventures, increase awareness so that we can improve the intake of healthy foods and promote good health. I always would feel that my talk is incomplete if I don't talk about the healthy food plate. We need to have half of our plates filled with fruits, vegetables, unprocessed grains, include the dairy. Reach out to people, talk about protein adequacy. We Indians are known to be a nation of starches and sugars. We just like our atta, ghee, tel, shakkar. We need to reduce that and come out to, okay, we like our veggie proteins. We like our eggs, we like our milk, we like our curds, paneer, we can have raitas, we can have shakes, we can have smoothies, we can have soups, we can have so many ideas. We can have protein dense pizzas, we can have protein dense burger tikkis, we can steam, we can boil, we can pan braise, we can talk about better food methods of cookery. We need to help support the need for developing a healthy body weight and reduce the risk for chronic diseases. We need to talk about aaj se ek chammach kam, that talks about fats, about sugars, about salt. We need to initiate also consumer awareness activities about the use of or about the presence of trans fatty acids and saturated fats. We need to alert our hawkers, our restaurateurs about people who are developing new schemes, new outlets. We need to encourage them. Like I was reading about this Singapore program where they have this healthier hawker program. So we need to tell them about what they are doing with the use of those poor oils. So how they can switch to healthier oils, how we can implement social marketing campaigns. So the government needs to use nutritionists at every venture. And we nutritionists can talk about the use or talk about asking which is the oil or fat which is being served in a particular restaurant, or we can learn, we can talk to our patients about people whom talk to whom we reach out to about to read labels, find out which is the oil, which is the fat, what is the amount of salt, what is the amount of sugar, what is the amount of say any color which can be allergen to you. So we need to talk about these things. Unless we don't create awareness, we're not going to create a need or a requirement. So where there will be awareness, there will be an increased need, and we can then reach out with better food ideas. One study run in a school in Delhi brought out this, that we need to understand what are the reasons for unhealthy consumption of these frequently consumed fast foods. The 6 reasons were proliferation of fast food retail outlets, hyper palatability of fast foods, marketing of fast foods on electronic social media, diminished household cooking practices. This actually is a reference to we are using too much of these Swiggy and these guys who come with fast foods quickly. Bhook lagi to kya hua, 2 minutes. The lack of food, good food, and tendency to seek peer group acceptance. We just feel that, okay, because my friends wanted to have a pizza, so I too had a pizza. Or because my friends who are playing a particular sport are having this particular sports drink, which is so much high in sugar and caffeine. So even I'm having it. So we need to have, we have to implement certain, activities or certain principles. We need to talk about restricting the sale of unhealthy foods, school canteens. We need to make available palatable, nutritious food. We need to discuss about the advantages of what healthy foods do to you, as also bring out the long-term impact of unhealthy fast food, rich in sugars, salts, and colors and additives. And we need to bring back that old home economics subject, which made children in schools, prepare foods in the school. I'm sure there are enough schools even today which talk about, which tell the students to bring healthy dabbas, or, there are days when, like I know my school in the CBSE were asked to, once in a month bring something healthy. And how I try to, make a pasta with lot more vegetables and sprouts. Or once we had made a pav bhaji with vegetables, sprouts, and sweet potato. This is the potato. So there are many avenues where if you have a nutrition input, we can bring about a change. So Mayuri, I think you need to.
Yeah. So I was just getting this question as you're saying that, we need to make a healthy plate. I mean, most of our nutritionists we know, but for general audience, my question is, how can we make it more healthy? You are talking about a healthy pizza, you are talking about a healthy burger. So how can we make that? If you can give some insights on that, it would be great for the general audience.
Definitely. That has been my, you can say last, say 4 months, ever since the first month when you were all just at home. And
Right.
I felt, okay, I just remembered how my father told me, when he had a very massive cardiac arrest a few days before his death, he was discussing that you read such a lot, and why don't you bring that knowledge, amongst the masses, talk about healthy food ideas. And I felt now that I have so much of time that God has given me, so let me start experimenting on a larger scale. So every day something new came up. So this idli that you see is of your brown rice, where I put grated beetroot and finely cut coriander, mint, and there's a peanut chutney. The sambar has much more vegetables. And this is the ragi idli. Ragi is my favorite though, because
Yes.
it's rich in calcium and it really has a good amount of fiber, helps to improve the gut microbiota. The ragi dosa, the ragi shira, the
Oh,
mixed dal dosa, the quinoa upma. So I try to stratify how you have the different fast foods. So this is the Udupi ventures. Then if I bring in the baked goodies. So this was there on my FB post. The spinach croissant. This I'm yet to post. This is the mint and cheese oats bread
toast.
made by me and done up. This is the nuts and dates. I have used dates, raisins, almonds, sunflower seeds in a filling of oats and whole wheat and baked.
Wow.
This is my pita bread where I've tried to bring in a lot of vegetables with a healthy tomato and beet soup. Then this was a stuffed pie made again from oats, and the stuffing was hummus. Hummus is made from chickpeas and olive oil. This is the jawar pizza made with the chicken and cheese topping. And there was this ragi bread with soup. Yeah. Then the chaat corner or the Gujarati ideas. So we had this chatpata moong chaat. Then we have the moong sprout cutlet. We have the moong dokla. Here again, there was no soda being used because I'm totally against the use of soda and fruit salts and ENO, because that does have a very bad impact on the gut microbiota. Again, the dahi vada is not deep fried. The dahi vada was made from an equal portion of urad and moong dal, soaked with a little bit of methi, seasoned zira and pepper and ginger, and made on the non-stick pan. There was no deep frying.
Wow.
And then there was
Ma'am,
this
it
healthy
looks
dahi.
so delicious. Looking itself is so delicious.
Yeah, this
And
is
I
the
think,
mutia. I
yeah,
grew up in
okay.
having a lot of mutia thanks to my, neighbors. And they were so good in all their steamed mutias. And this is the moong cutlet.
Wow.
Salad bars, yeah. Today in Mumbai, of course, we have a lot of salad bars. And I thought, let me have some more ideas. So I've tried to introduce your lettuce leaves, the pak choy, the sprouts, the paneer, the tofu, the chavli beans, the chickpeas boiled. Then this particular salad had sweet potato and mango. I think we nutritionists can just, use our ideas and, ask our people who come out to us or on our talks how we can introduce so many things and how we can just make the regular dal into a different, whole dal venture. So the Mumbai special, the pav bhaji became a ragi pav bhaji. The
Wow.
kati roll became a paneer stuffing with a whole wheat roti. This is the corn chat. This is the open toast with loads of vegetables, a little bit of cheese. Then you have this smoothie with a stuffed toast, because you cannot say no to your youngsters. I'm not going to give you. I too
Right.
have two young children and who are now married, and I never said no. I said, okay, you will have it, but with a difference. So they never complained. So
Oh,
you have this juice counter. So I said, yes, we always are talking about, say, coconut water, and talking about, say, orange juice and lime juice. So I felt, well, why not bring in this pineapple and mint? Yeah, the beet and mint with lime. And then there's one more, the date and lime. So I think we can just bring in ideas. So
okay.
if we can talk about, my plate,
Okay.
yes, I will win because I will be more healthier in my ideas. Friends, whether you are young, old, male or female, every time you eat, you are either feeding disease or you are fighting it. And we nutritionists have to tell people whenever, however we have an opportunity, to tell people that, remember, body, when it is hungry, it just does not want calories, it wants nutrients. So when you are hungry, first drink a glass of water, then look at, okay, what can I choose healthy? So we need to create healthy habits, not just restrictions.
Okay.
Optimize nutrition, enrich lives. Over to you, Mayuri.